Okay, so I figured I could just up and talk about my life, be like open and honest, be more so than um, I used to. Now that I don't really have anybody telling me that I can't be honest. So um, I think it'd be fun to just up and talk about my life and let you guys know kind of just my history and stuff like that. Just like kind of so that way you guys get some perspective, and if you guys need anybody to to relate to or whatnot, you have me, I guess. Um, so I am I am half Mexican. I am half Norwegian. Those are my heritages that I know of. I was born to a mother and father, obviously, and I have a brother and I have a sister. I'm closer to my brother than I am with my sister, but we'll get into that later. Um, let's see. I have a few early memories, but I feel like those ones are a little bit more personal. I'd probably talk to those more so with friends or if I'm ever in a relationship again, which I doubt it. Uh, anyways, um, so my life was kind of different than most people's upbringings. My mom didn't really raise me or my siblings. We were raised by my mom's parents or my grandparents. My dad was never really in the picture. As far as I know, he was in jail for a couple of years of my life, and then he got out of it. But I don't really know much about anywhere between him and me, like in the first 16 years of my life. He was there here and there once in a while for holidays, but that was about it. We spent most of our time, me and my sister and my brother, we spent most of our time being raised by my grandparents, which is funny because that's why I tend to have a different mindset of people of my peers, my same age and whatnot, because I was raised by parental figures that raised the Gen Xers slash boomers and whatnot. So I grew up with I grew up in a kind of a stricter household and whatnot, a little bit more stricter than what's going on with parents today. We got a belt to us if we did anything bad, or a switch, or our mouths washed out with soap if we swore or whatever. So that was kind of different. But yeah, I love my grandma. I love my grandpa. They were the closest people to us that I actually felt feelings for when they actually died and whatnot. My brother doesn't have any memories of them, which is actually quite interesting. But me and my sister, we do. When I was 11 years old, my grandma died of breast cancer, and that's when we moved in with my mom. For the first 11 years of my life, I was raised by my grandparents otherwise. My grandma was a teacher. She taught many different grades and whatnot, and she was kind of like an artist too as well. My mom was an artist too. I guess that's where I kind of get my creativity a little bit from, but I'm also ADHD, so I kind of just put stuff to the side. My grandpa was a farmer. From what I know, he owned a lot of land, but he got rid of that land when my mom was born, or something like that. Something along the lines of that. I don't really know when he got rid of it. But he was a farmer, and they built a house. The house is gorgeous. I kind of really want to buy the house and whatnot, but that's beside the point. House is gorgeous. I grew up in a middle class, I would say middle class back in the 90s setting and whatnot. But as soon as, because my grandma and my grandpa, they were well off. we didn't really do much vacations or whatnot, but they, like how I see everybody else do it, but we were well off. There was like no issues. I actually kind of remember my grandpa getting really upset having to buy medication for me because I had a wart on my toe at one point. And I didn't, I'm a kid, I don't know the concept of money and whatnot. So, like, he was just bitching. I remember, because I remember him yelling to my grandma, but, like, not in, like, starting a fight. He was just mad about the cost. Like, this is $112 for this type of medicine, blah, 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 blah. And, like, back then, I'm like, I don't know why he's yelling and stuff, but back today, I'm like, wow, shit hasn't really much changed now, has it? Because, yeah. I remember my grandma had 3 boys. She remarried because her first husband had died. I don't know why he died or how he died. But she had 3 boys with him, and then she had 2 girls with my grandpa, my biological grandpa on my mom's side. So I had 3 half uncles and 1 full aunt. My favorite uncle was the one that actually understood me a little bit more, and he was the youngest one of the kids. It was actually quite sad and whatnot, because he had died in a motorcycle accident, and I remember that because it was the year before my grandma died, and we went to his funeral and whatnot. But his name was Paul, and I had an uncle Bill, and I had an uncle John, the like whitest names ever. And then I had so it wasn't until like very like in middle school, high school when I found out, but I had an aunt, and she went by her middle name, and I didn't know that. I didn't know why she went by her middle name until like I realized, oh, your name is a really old name, and I get it. You want to like differentiate. And she also was named after her aunt. And I understand that because the name is very, very old. But yeah, and my mom was the youngest, obviously. So as far on my dad's side, he I think is I want to say he's the middle child, because I don't really know their dynamic. He has 4 brothers and 1 sister, and so it's a family of 6. God, like, if you think about, like, baby boomers, like, that's really it. Baby boomers. But he's Mexican, so that's the point. But, yeah, we were raised by my grandparents, and kind of when my grandma died, we moved in with my mom, because my grandpa really couldn't take care of us. During that whole time, my grandma was battling cancer and whatnot. He had a stroke. He had gangrene on his toe and stuff. He couldn't take care of us anymore. So then when we moved in with my mom and whatnot, I was 11, and that's when things kind of changed. We went from a kind of well-off family household to one where we started to need food stamps. We needed government assistance on a lot of things. The church donated money to us and stuff like that. It was definitely a shift in how things used to be. And at that point, I had to kind of learn to grow up a little bit more, because in order to get a free lunch in middle school, I had to work in the cafeteria for like 20 minutes, like, get like things for them and whatnot. Then I get my free lunch. And that was how I got free lunch in middle school. Then once high school started, I got an actual job with them, and I paid like $5 an hour, and it was only during lunch. So it brought me like at least like $25 every 2 weeks, because it was like only 30 minutes, right? But I also got free lunch out of that. And that was kind of a fun thing. I'll have to like talk about that later, because that's the reason why I fucking hate the government really doesn't understand how things work and how people need things to survive, and cheat people out of things. Let's see. In elementary school, I wouldn't say I was popular. I would say I was like, I wasn't picked on and I wasn't popular. I was just like kind of like there. Middle school, I was also kind of there and whatnot. And then in high school, that's where I started to like get picked on the fuck on, like, and whatnot. I still keep in touch with one of my friends, still, and he's basically a brother because he's been there since I was 9 years old. And it's fun because we kind of can understand, like, we're so close. It's like me and our actual brother. We can understand each other a lot in our emotions and whatnot, so it's fun. Uh, Now, my mom had recently passed away. I want to say recently, about 10 years ago. So that was when I turned 21. And that was when I actually came out a year. Like, I was out for like, I want to say 6 months actually, because I started 6 months ish. 6 to 9 months. And then she had died of a heart attack, and everything kind of like fell again. It was just like after death, we kind of like it's hard to like climb back up from all that stuff when you didn't have a system that when you didn't have any type of you didn't really have an inheritance to help you out with costs afterwards. We did get a house, and that's all been paid for, so we have something to fall back on in case something were to happen. But this is, yeah. Anyways, talking about this is kind of like, I'm kind of letting you guys know a little bit more about me. I'm going to go further into it later on, but I feel like that's kind of like enough of a beginning, like a little feel. Yeah. So, anyways, I'll do another one of these vlogs for tomorrow after I do another drink video for you guys. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know how, or kind of what I am. And I will continue that tomorrow. Bye for now.